Hello and welcome everybody back to another video. I'm your SimCFI, which means I'm your flight instructor for any simulator purposes, DCS, Microsoft, whatever it is. Please leave a comment down below with a question and I'll be sure to answer it to the best of my ability. If I don't know who or what to say, I'll get someone who does and I'll forward you their answer. It's saying that I'm a real world pilot as well. I fly the CRJ 900-900NG real world as an FO. So I'm hoping that you'll take something away from this that we do in real life. And basically, yeah. Let's get into it. This is going to be a takeoff procedure video, how to properly take off the CRJ with all the sequence of events. Disclaimer, not using my company SOPs, AOM, nothing like that. I'll be using the Aerosoft provided manual, which I'll leave a link to down below that you can download yourself. And it'll be in their Aerosoft AOM version 2 where you'll find the chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and get in the airplane here. I'm going to pull up that chart for you. And this is what it looks like here. So I'll rotate at the top, just for even more clarification. It's the Aerosoft manual, which I can show you right there. Quick reference guide, volume 2, page 216. You can follow along, and I'll put a link down there so you can download it. So looking at the chart, going down here, it starts right at the threshold, all the way up to an accelerating airplane away from the ground with flaps up and everything good to go. So I'm going to preface this with the CRJ takes off like any airplane. Set the power, pull up, and rotate. The only difference is there's a lot of sequences of events that happens during this takeoff portion here, as you can see. I'll try to make it as easy as possible. So we'll start from the gear up part. So once we've rotated, the gear is up. The first thing we got to tell the airplane and the flight directors is, you're still manually flying by the way, is a vertical profile. So in the CRJ, we don't climb in VNAV, we do not climb in vertical speed because you're not speed protected, but we're going to climb in speed mode. And we'll talk about that a bit more, but you'll climb in speed mode, and that's basically going to start pitching for a speed, and so your flight director is going to start giving you guidance to hold a certain speed with your power setting. So once you've picked a vertical profile, and we're going to choose speed mode, the next step is to choose a lateral profile, either heading or nav mode. In this case, with our demonstration today, we'll be using heading mode, but any RNAV, GNSS, SID, we'll be using nav mode. One disclaimer on that, in real world, when you click nav, initially the PFD will say heading in green, FMS2 or FMS1 armed, and then it'll swap to, and then FMS will go armed or captured after. In the sim, you might have to spam nav a bunch of times. It doesn't quite work too well in the current build I'm using. Either way, once you're through 600 feet, you can throw the autopilot on. 600 is the min for the autopilot engagement through a takeoff. Once you're through 1,000 feet above airport elevation, we start accelerating. So down here, we're holding V2 plus 10. Once we're above 1,000 feet, we're going to accelerate. Usually the VT speed, in this example, it gives you 200 knots, but usually we accelerate to VT. And then the pilot flying, that's what PF stands for, we'll call for the flaps up on schedule. So as you start accelerating, you'll start retracting the flaps, flap 1, flap 0. Once the flaps are 0 and you've reached VT, you'll set climb thrust. So it's not really that big of a deal, especially with the FADEC system. So gear up, speed mode, make sure that the mode has been selected correctly. Pick a lateral mode, heading or nav. Usually it's going to be heading on most, but sometimes it's nav mode on the RNAV, GNSS, SIDs. So pick a mode, verify it's been selected on your PFD, engage the autopilot at 600 feet. At 1,000 feet, you're going to wind the speed knob up from wherever it currently is to about the VT speed. Call flaps up as you're accelerating. Climb thrust once you've reached VT with the flap up. And then you can accelerate past 200, maybe 250, whatever the SID calls for. All right, so I'm going to put this away. We're sitting on the runway 24 left out of Pearson. And I'm going to show you what I have set up. Currently, we have the toga button press. You can see we have TOTO. This is done by clicking the black button on the throttle there. We do that once we're on the center line. It helps with the IRS and the system. Just do it when you're on the runway center line that you're taking off on. Don't do it in the ramp or anything else. Secondly, I have my MDA set. So remember that 1,000 feet above elevation where we start to accelerate to VT? I set that here. And you go MDA. And you can scroll this up. If you hold shift, which Miggity Mike stream showed me this, if you hold shift, it will scroll even faster. So Toronto Pearson is 570 feet above sea level. at 1,000 feet, 1570. So that's our 1,000 above elevation. That's our acceleration height. We also got our flap set to 8 for our takeoff today. It's more than enough for today. And our auto cross flow is set to manual, so we don't have fuel auto cross flowing on us. Lights are on. We're ready to go. I'm going to select the parking brake off. And I'll bring this manual up one more time. As you can see, the callouts here, we got, this is via the Aerosoft. We have set thrust by the pilot flying. The pilot monitoring will say thrust set. 80 knots checked. V1 rotate. And the pilot's going to start pulling up. All right, so let's give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and release my brakes. And we're going to go ahead and set 70 to 75% N1 with the brakes released. So usually that's that line just between the screw and the climb setting. And you'll see pretty good there. And I'll go set thrust as the pilot flying. Pilot monitoring is going to call thrust set, if it is. He's going to be verifying that in ICAS number 1. Pilot monitoring is going to call 80 knots. Pilot flying says checked. Pilot monitoring is watching for engine malfunction or anything like that. Pilot flying is just focusing on runway center line. V1 rotate. We're going to pull up right to those flight directors. Pull up right to those flight directors. Okay, gear up. Speed mode. Heading mode. You can see it says there in the PFD. We're through 600 feet on our radar altimeter. Engage autopilot. Passing of 1570, there it is for 1,000 feet above. We're going to scroll our speed knob here with our speed knob on the autopilot panel to our VT speed of 196. That's done with this knob here. We have an accelerating trend. Let's go and go flap 0, or correction, flap 1. Our VT minus 10 to 15 there, we're good. We'll go flap 0. And you can see the flaps are up. Waiting until we reach VT, and then we'll select climb thrust. Alright, we'll go ahead and go climb thrust, and you can see it says climb right there. Oh, never mind, my throttle moved. Climb in the ICAS number 1. And we can start accelerating to 250 if we need to. And we'd be contacting departure. Well, the other guy pilot monitoring would be. So hopefully that helps, and you'd be doing your after takeoff checks and doing all that. But hopefully that helps your departures in the CRJ. That's the sequence of events. I'll pause for right now. Positive rate gear up. You'll grab a vertical profile, which is going to be speed mode, and you're going to see climb in the PFD. I'll show you that actually right now. Let's go ahead and go a bit higher. You'll see climb, and it should be close to V2. V2 plus 10 to 15 or so. Then you're going to bug. My mistake. Then you're going to select a lateral profile or mode, so it's going to be heading or nav. If it's an RNAV GNSS SID, you'll use nav, and if it's just runway heading, then you can use heading. Once that's done, once you're through 600 feet on the radar altimeter, when you're above ground 600 feet, you can have the autopilot thrown on for you, and you'll see a little AP in green appear right here. Once you're 1,000 feet above elevation, you'll see that if you've set it, you'll see that blue line pop up 1,000 feet above. You can start accelerating, so you're going to scroll your speed knob. You're going to accelerate to that VT speed. As you're accelerating, retract the flaps. Climb thrust once the flaps are 0 and you've reached VT. And then you can grab your after takeoff checklist, your climb checks, whatever you want to call them, and call ATC at the same time. All right, so I hope this helped. This is the CRJ takeoff profile given to us by Aerosoft Simulations via their procedures and their charts that they've gotten from somewhere. And yeah, so as I said, very close to what we do in real life. There's a couple little things here on the speeds and the callouts and stuff that are a bit different, but very, very close to what we do in real life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Download the manual for yourself. Go through it. It's a good read. Gives you a lot of stuff on how to fly the airplane. And we'll see you guys in the next video. So for now, goodbye.